ladies and gentlemen, welcome back, family. I need you to catch this in your spirit today. Silence is not weakness, it's strategy. See, the world has taught us that if somebody comes for you, you better clap back. If they disrespect you, you better let them know who you are. If they put your name in their mouth, you better put some fire back in theirs. But let me tell you something. Sometimes the loudest strength you can show is keeping your mouth shut. Now, don't get me wrong. Silence doesn't mean you didn't hear it. Silence doesn't mean you didn't feel it. Silence doesn't mean you're okay with it. What silence means is, I know who I am too much to waste my energy proving it to you. Oh, somebody needs to hear that. Your silence is not an admission of defeat. It is a declaration of confidence. Because when you know who you are, you don't have to fight small battles. When you understand your assignment, you don't have to get distracted by every arrow that flies your way. Sometimes the best clap back is no clap at all. Sometimes the best response is to let God handle what you don't have to. See, silence is not passive. It's powerful. It's not that you're running from the fight. It's that you're choosing which fights deserve your attention. And baby, disrespect is not worth your destiny. If I stop to respond to every person that misunderstood me, disrespected me, or underestimated me, I never have time to walk in the fullness of what God has called me to do. Let me give you a picture. Have you ever seen an eagle? An eagle doesn't waste its time swooping down to chase every crow that's squawking in the valley. No, the eagle flies higher, and the higher it goes, the smaller that noise becomes. That's what silence after disrespect looks like. You're saying, I'm not lowering myself to match your immaturity. I'm going to keep soaring. And let me say this with love. Sometimes the enemy wants your reaction more than your peace. He knows if he can get you to clap back, if he can get you to lose your cool, if he can get you to respond in anger, then he's stolen your focus. But when you stay quiet, when you breathe and let it go, when you choose strategy over reaction, that's when you win. Because silence is not weakness, it's wisdom. Silence says, I refuse to be pulled into a battle that has nothing to do with my future. Silence says, I don't need to prove my worth to anyone because my worth has already been stamped by God. Silence says, I know the difference between what deserves my voice and what deserves my quiet. Now let me be real. Silence is not always easy. Some of us, our flesh wants to rise up. We want to defend ourselves. We want to get that last word. But I dare you to believe that staying quiet can sometimes say more than 1,000 words ever could. Because silence speaks volumes. Silence says, I'm not moved by this storm. I'm anchored in something greater. Family, don't confuse silence with surrender. Don't confuse quiet with weakness. Your silence is not you giving up, it's you leveling up. You're saying, I choose peace over pettiness. I choose focus over foolishness. I choose destiny over drama. And when you make that choice, Godstem, he fights battles you never even saw. He defends you in rooms your name enters without your presence. He exalts you in places where others tried to tear you down. So the next time you face disrespect, don't rush to open your mouth. Open your heart. Don't rush to clap back. Step back. Ask yourself, is this a distraction or is this destiny? And if it's not destiny, stay quiet. Because silence is not weakness. Silence is strategy. Silence is strength, and silence will always speak louder than disrespect ever could. Family, I need you to lean in on this one. Your value is not defined by their disrespect. Let me say it again for the people in the back. What they said about you, what they did to you, how they treated you, that does not determine who you are. See, disrespect has a way of trying to shrink us. It makes you feel like maybe you're not enough. Maybe you don't deserve the seat at the table. Maybe you're not as gifted, not as smart, not as worthy as you thought. But let me tell you something. People can only see you through the lens of their own brokenness. When they disrespected you, it wasn't about your worth. It was about their wound. You've got to stop letting small minds tell you how big your calling is. You've got to stop letting broken people define your value. If a person can't see your worth, that doesn't mean it's not there. It just means they don't have the capacity to recognize it. A diamond in the dirt is still a diamond. Whether it's in a jewelry store or in the mud, its value never changes. It just needs the right eyes to see it. That's why staying quiet after disrespect is so powerful. Because silence says you don't get to rewrite the story of who I am. Silence says, your words don't control my identity. Silence says, I know what God has already spoken over my life, and no amount of shade, gossip, or lies can erase that truth. And let me be real with you. Sometimes disrespect cuts the deepest when it comes from people we trusted. When it's family, when it's friends, when it's someone we loved, someone we supported, someone we showed up for, that's when it stings. Because you think, if anybody should know my heart, it's them. But hear me, even when people mishandle you, God still covers you. Whoa. Even when people underestimate you, God still positions you. Their disrespect does not cancel your destiny. Listen, Jesus himself was disrespected. People called him a fraud, a liar, blasphemer. They mocked him, spat on him, even nailed him to a cross. But their disrespect didn't stop his resurrection. And if he can rise, so can you. That's proof that disrespect can't bury destiny. So the next time someone disrespects you, remember, your value is set. It's non-negotiable. It's permanent. You don't have to lower yourself to prove it. You don't have to defend it with your words. You just have to walk in it, because your worth is not up for debate. It was sealed before you were even born. Family, I want you to carry this with you. Their disrespect says more about them than it ever will about you. You are not what they called you. You are not what they called you. You are not the way they treated you. You are who God says you are, chosen, favored, strong, anointed, and valuable beyond measure. So don't waste your breath arguing with disrespect. Don't waste your energy proving yourself to people who are determined not to see you. Instead, rise above. Protect your peace. And remember, your value doesn't change just because they couldn't recognize it. You are priceless. You are unstoppable. And no amount of disrespect can ever take that away. Family, I want you to catch this truth in your spirit. Peace is more powerful than reaction. Let that sit for a moment, because everything in us wants to react when we're disrespected. It's human. It's natural. Somebody rolls their eyes. Somebody throws shade. Somebody questions your character. You want to clap back. You want to set the record straight. You want to prove a point. But hear me, your reaction might make you feel good for a moment, but your peace will sustain you for a lifetime. See, reaction is quick, but peace is eternal. Reaction is flesh, but peace is spirit. When you react out of anger, you give them control. But when you protect your peace, you keep your power. Somebody needs to hear this today. Your reaction is not always required. Sometimes the greatest testimony is that you didn't let them move you. Do you know how much strength it takes to be still when chaos is swirling around you? That's not weakness, that's power. Anybody can argue. Anybody can throw shade back. Anybody can be petty. But it takes a strong, mature, spirit-led person to say, I choose peace instead. Think about Jesus in the boat during the storm. The disciples are panicking. Waves are crashing. The boat is shaking. And Jesus is asleep. That's peace. That's power. Because peace doesn't mean the storm isn't real. Peace means the storm doesn't control you. And if Jesus can sleep in a storm, surely you can stay calm in the face of disrespect. In the face of disrespect. Now, let me get real with you. Reaction feels good for a moment, but it costs you something. It costs you your energy. It costs you your focus. It costs you your witness. You ever notice how when you react, the situation doesn't really change? It just grows. One reaction leads to another, and now you're caught up in a cycle of drama that was never meant for you. But peace, that breaks the cycle. Peace says, I'm not participating in this chaos. I'm going to keep my heart steady and my eyes forward. And family, let me tell you this. Peace is not passive. Peace is not sitting back and letting people walk all over you. Peace is an active choice. Peace says, I will not let what you did rob me of my joy, my clarity, my focus, or my future. That's power. Because here's the truth. Your reaction might win the argument, but peace will win the war. Peace will keep your spirit whole. Peace will guard your mind. Peace will make people wonder, how are they not breaking down after all that disrespect? How are they still standing? And you'll be able to say, because my peace is anchored in something bigger than people's opinions. It's anchored in God. So the next time disrespect shows up, I want you to pause. Take a breath. Ask yourself, do I want to spend my energy reacting, or do I want to protect my peace? Because once you give away your peace, it's hard to get it back. But when you guard it, when you fight for it, peace becomes your superpower. Family, never forget this. Reaction is temporary, but peace is eternal. Your peace is your weapon. Your peace is your strength. And your peace is what will carry you through every storm, every disrespect, and every battle that tries to take you down. So protect it. Choose it. Live in it. Because peace is more powerful than any reaction you could ever give. Family, hear me on this. Not every battle deserves your energy. Some of us are tired, not because life is too heavy, but because we've been wasting strength fighting battles that were never ours to fight. You're worn out not because your destiny is too demanding, but because you've been pouring energy into distractions instead of purpose. See, disrespect will always invite you into a fight. Somebody says something slick, somebody tries to embarrass you, somebody questions your character, and your flesh wants to rise up. But I came to tell you today, you don't have to show up to every battle that knocks on your door. The enemy is crafty. He knows he can't steal your calling. He knows he can't block your blessing. But if he can drain your energy, if he can keep you busy fighting petty battles, you won't have the strength to stand when the real war shows up. So he sends disrespect. He sends shade. He sends gossip. Why? To see if you'll waste your oil on it. But not every battle deserves your oil. Not every battle deserves your voice. Not every battle deserves your presence. You've got to ask yourself, is this battle connected to my destiny, or is this just a distraction? Because if it's just disrespect, it's not worth it. Don't hand over your peace, your time, your anointing, just to prove something to someone who doesn't even have the power to validate you in the first place. Think about David. When Goliath stood in front of him, that was a battle worth fighting. Why? Because it was tied to his destiny. But when Saul threw spears at him out of jealousy, David didn't throw spears back. He walked away because David knew this battle is not mine to fight. He reserved his energy for the fight that mattered. And that's what some of us need to learn, when to fight and when to stay quiet. Family, hear this. Your silence after disrespect is not weakness. It's wisdom. It's you saying, I refuse to waste my strength on battles that won't build me. It's you saying, I'm too focused on my assignment to entertain your drama. It's you saying, I know where God is taking me, and I won't get there by stopping to argue with every critic along the way. Let me make it practical. Every time you clap back on social media, that's energy spent. Every time you argue with somebody who's committed to misunderstanding you, that's energy drained. Every time you lose sleep replaying what they said or how they disrespected you, that's energy stolen. And the truth is, you need that energy. You need it for your vision. You need it for your healing. You need it for the doors God is about to open. You don't have energy to waste. So I dare you to start being selective about what deserves your fight. Not every battle is worth your voice. Not every disrespect deserves your response. Sometimes the best way to win is not to show up at all. Family, let this settle in your heart. Peace is priceless and energy is limited. Don't spend yours proving something to people who don't matter to your future. Protect it, guard it, save it for the battles that actually advance your destiny. Because at the end of the day, staying quiet after disrespect is not surrender. It's strategy. And it's the strategy that keeps you moving forward when everyone else is stuck in petty fights that lead nowhere. Family, listen to me. God sees what they did, and you don't need to prove it. Somebody needs to breathe that in right now, because I know how it feels when someone disrespects you, lies on you, talks about you, or mistreats you. Everything in your flesh wants to stand up and say, but that's not who I am. Let me set the record straight. You want to prove your innocence, defend your name, justify your actions. But hear me, when you walk with God, you don't have to spend your life proving what He already knows. God saw the disrespect. God heard the words they whispered when you weren't in the room. God knows the truth they tried to twist. And here's the beautiful thing. God is not just watching. He's keeping record. He is your defender. He is your vindicator. He is your shield. You don't have to clap back when heaven is already clapping for you. See, when you try to fight your own battles, you limit the victory to your own strength. But when you stay quiet and let God handle it, He wins in ways you never could. He exposes what needs to be exposed. He elevates you in front of the same people who tried to tear you down. He sets a table for you right in the presence of your enemies, and the meal tastes sweeter because you didn't waste your energy trying to drag them to the table. You let God do the arranging. Let me give you a picture. Imagine you're in a courtroom and someone's lying about you on the stand. They're disrespecting your character, throwing dirt on your name. If you jump up and start shouting in the middle of the trial, guess what? You look guilty even if you're not. But if you stay quiet and let your lawyer do the talking, the truth comes out. Family, God is your lawyer, and He's the one pleading your case. He's the one with evidence you don't even have access to. He's the one who knows the whole story, beginning to end. All you have to do is trust him enough to stay quiet. And let me tell you something else. Sometimes the disrespect wasn't meant to break you. It was meant to build you. It was God's way of removing people who could not be trusted with your destiny. If they could so easily dishonor you, then they were never meant to walk with you into the next season. Don't waste time chasing validation from people God himself exposed. I know it hurts. I know silence feels unfair. I know you want to shout it, but that's not me. They've got me wrong. But baby, let me remind you, Jesus didn't defend himself either. They accused him, mocked him, spat on him. And the Bible says he opened not his mouth. Why? Because he knew his silence was not weakness. It was trust. Trust that God would have the final word. And he did. The same people who tried to bury him had to watch him rise. So hear me, stay quiet after disrespect. Not because you're weak, but because you know God saw it. God knows it. God will handle it. You don't have to prove anything to people who never had the power to define you in the first place. Family, let this sink deep. Your name is safe in God's hands. Your reputation is covered by his grace. Your vindication is secured by his promise. And when God fights for you, he wins so completely that you'll realize you never had to lift your voice at all. So the next time disrespect comes knocking, remember this: you don't need to prove it. You just need to trust it because God saw it, and that's enough. Family, lean in on this. Silence teaches self-control. See, silence is not just about holding your tongue. It's about mastering your spirit. It's about saying, I refuse to let my emotions run my destiny. I refuse to let my anger write my story. Because when you stay quiet after disrespect, what you're really doing is training yourself for strength on another level. Anybody can go off. Anybody can clap back. Anybody can send that text, post that status, or let those words fly. That takes no discipline, but it takes maturity to pause. It takes growth to breathe. It takes self-control to say, I could, but I won't. Oh, somebody needs to grab that. I could respond, but I won't. I could drag you, but I won't. I could fight back, but I won't. I could fight back, but I won't. Because I value my growth too much to lose it over disrespect. Do you know what silence really does? It exposes who's in charge, you or your emotions. Because if your anger controls you, your peace will always be at risk. But when you control your response, you show the world that you're not easily shaken, you're not easily provoked, and you're not easily broken. That's power. Think about it like this. Silence is like spiritual weightlifting. Every time you resist the urge to react, you're building strength in your spirit. You're training yourself to stay steady under pressure. You're learning how to choose wisdom over impulse. And that kind of strength, it carries over into every area of your life. Your relationships, your leadership, your calling. Even the word of God says, be quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to anger. Why? Because silence gives you space to listen. Silence gives you time to think. Silence gives you room to let God guide your next move instead of letting emotions drive the car. And when you do that, you walk in authority. Now, let me be real. Self-control doesn't always feel good. It feels like biting your tongue when every part of you wants to snap. It feels like walking away when your pride is begging you to stay and argue. It feels like surrender when your flesh is screaming for revenge. But family, don't mistake the pain of restraint for weakness. It's proof of strength. Because only the strong can stay still when provoked. Only the strong can stay quiet when disrespected. Only the strong can say, I won't let this moment ruin my mission. And let me tell you what happens when you practice silence. Your discernment sharpens. You start to see people clearly. You begin to recognize who deserves your energy and who doesn't. You begin to hear God's voice louder than the noise of drama. Because silence doesn't just protect your peace, it positions your spirit to hear from heaven. Family, silence is your teacher. It teaches you how to control your emotions instead of being controlled by them. It teaches you how to rise above disrespect without being pulled into it. It teaches you that power is not in how loud you can speak, but in how disciplined you can stay. So the next time someone disrespects you, ask yourself, am I going to let this moment own me, or am I going to own myself? Because self-control is not just about what you don't say. It's about the strength you build every time you choose wisdom over reaction. Stay quiet. Stay steady. Stay strong, because silence is shaping you into the person God already sees you becoming. Family, catch this. Disrespect reveals their character, not yours. Somebody needed to hear that today, because you've been carrying the weight of what somebody else did to you as if it says something about who you are. But let me tell you, it doesn't. See, when people disrespect you, it's easy to internalize it. You start asking, what did I do wrong? Why don't they value me? Am I not enough? But here's the truth. Their actions don't define your identity. Their words don't diminish your worth. Their treatment doesn't rewrite your story. Disrespect is not a reflection of your value. It's a reflection of their heart. If someone lies on you, that doesn't make you a liar. If someone cheats you, that doesn't make you unworthy. If someone mocks you, that doesn't make you small. What it does make you small. What it does make clear is the condition of their spirit. Because people can only give out of what's inside them. And if all they have to offer is disrespect, then that says more about them than it ever could about you. Jesus said, out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. So when someone disrespects you, don't take it as truth. Take it as evidence of what's going on in their heart. That's their brokenness showing, not your identity shifting. Let me make this plain. If you walk by a mirror that's cracked, your reflection will look broken, but you're not broken. The mirror is. The disrespect you received is a cracked mirror. It may distort the image, but it doesn't change the reality of who you are. You are still whole. You are still chosen. You are still called. And this is why staying quiet after disrespect is so powerful. Because silence says, I refuse to let your character flaws contaminate my spirit. Silence says, oh, immaturity won't provoke me into stepping out of mine. Silence says, I see your heart, but I know mine, and I'm not going to trade my peace for your chaos. Family, hear me. Don't waste your time trying to convince people of your character when their own actions are exposing theirs. You don't have to defend yourself when the truth will eventually do it for you. You don't have to stoop down to their level when God has already lifted you higher. And let me tell you something freeing. Sometimes God allows disrespect not to break you, but to show you who people really are. That coworker, that friend, that family member, you thought they were for you. But the moment disrespect came out, their true character was revealed. And now you know. Don't see it as rejection. See it as revelation. So the next time you face disrespect, remember this. It's not your character on trial. It's theirs. Let their actions speak for themselves and let your silence speak for you. Because in the end, it will be clear. Your integrity will outlast their immaturity. Your peace will outshine their pettiness, obstinate pettiness. And your destiny will rise above their disrespect. Family, don't let their character flaws become your reflection. You stay rooted in who God says you are. Because disrespect may reveal them, but it will never define you. Family, let me say this with all the love in my heart. Growth requires letting go of pettiness. You cannot climb higher while holding on to low places. You cannot step into your future while clinging to petty arguments, petty clapbacks, and petty battles that only keep you stuck. See, disrespect will always tempt you to get petty. Somebody rolls their eyes. You want to roll yours harder. Somebody throws shade. You want to throw a whole thunderstorm back. Somebody talks about you, and you're ready to talk louder, longer, stronger. But here's the truth. Pettiness feels good for a moment, but it keeps you bound. Growth requires you to outgrow that cycle. Do you know why silence is such a powerful response to disrespect? Because silence is a sign that you've matured beyond the need to be petty. Silence says, I don't have time to lower myself just to make you feel small. Silence says, I've got too much in front of me to keep playing in the mud behind me. Silence says, as I refuse to trade my growth for your drama. Growth means choosing purpose over pride. Growth means asking yourself, does this move me closer to who I'm becoming, or does it keep me tied to who I used to be? Because pettiness will always try to pull you back. Pettiness whispers, don't let them get away with that. Pettiness shouts, they need to know who they're messing with. But growth reminds you, God already knows. God already saw. God already has it handled. And I don't need to waste my elevation proving something to someone who can't even see the level I'm walking on. Now, think about it. Trees don't stop growing just because somebody carves their initials into the bark. The tree keeps reaching higher. Why? Because growth doesn't have time to be petty, and neither do you. And let me be honest, it's not easy. Letting go of pettiness means letting go of your need to always be right. It means surrendering your desire for revenge. It means trusting God enough to fight battles you'll never even get to see. But family, that's where freedom is. Because pettiness keeps you trapped in cycles, but growth pushes you into destiny. The Bible says, when I was a child, I spoke as a child, I thought as a child, I reasoned like a child. But when I became grown, I put away childish things. And let me tell you, pettiness is childish. Pettiness is flesh. Pettiness is pride. But growth, that's spirit, that's maturity, that's kingdom. So the next time disrespect comes knocking, I want you to remember this. You don't have to answer with pettiness. You can answer with growth. You can answer with silence. You can answer with peace. You can answer with wisdom. Because every time you resist the urge to get petty, you're leveling up. Every time you choose silence over clap back, you're stepping higher. Every time you let it go instead of holding it tight, you're proving that your destiny matters more than your ego. Family growth requires sacrifice, and sometimes the sacrifice is your right to be petty. But when you let that go, you gain peace, you gain wisdom, you gain freedom, and you gain strength. So let them talk. Let them disrespect. Let them misunderstand. While they're being petty, you'll be growing. While they're tearing down, you'll be rising up. While they're stuck in cycles, you'll be walking into destiny. Because staying quiet after disrespect is not weakness, it's growth. And growth will always take you further than pettiness ever could.